Fine. According to the writer of Luke, who we didn't read just now, I know that. But according to the writer of Luke, Jesus was about 30 years old when he started his ministry. What led him to begin at 30-ish? Or what led him to wait that long is not something we have recorded to my knowledge. Legend has it that he followed in the footsteps of his father. He was a carpenter. That's how he made his living. He was a working person. Also, according to the Gospel of Luke, Jesus at 12 years old lingered after the festival of the Passover and was sitting in the temple courts among the teachers. We know this story, right? He was asking questions, stunning them with his understanding. His parents were heartsick when they couldn't find him, going around to cousins and others saying, "Is Jesus with you? Is Jesus with you?" And they had to go back and try to find him. However, when they found Jesus, he was like, "What's the problem? You knew I had to be here, right?" He knew that was where he was supposed to be. But his parents brought him home. We don't have anything else recorded between 12 and 30 years of age, so I wonder, what was he going through? How was he preparing for his ministry? Because surely he must have been. And how did he have the patience to wait or the determination to begin? 30 years old was older than it is now. So to say you have to wait until you're 30 to begin your ministry, I don't know. Maybe it's just because I have a hard time waiting when I get excited. Maybe he was fine with it. But I wish I knew what he went through between 12 and 30. But here we are, we're getting to know Jesus at about 30 years of age, and John the Baptist is his forerunner. Maybe that's the sign that he was waiting for, right? John started the whole thing off. Maybe Jesus was like, "Okay, cousin," because they were cousins. "Okay, cousin, so you're doing your thing now. That means it's my turn to get on with my ministry. Boy, cousin, I hope you're right. Or at last, cousin, I've been waiting for a long time." I don't know. Jesus is baptized by John to begin his ministry. Suddenly he is whisked away by the Spirit of God. Now the Gospel of Matthew puts it a little bit more gently. He was led. But really what the word means is that he was like picked up and tossed. Just like whoosh, and now you're going to go over here. He didn't have any choice. And so there he was, being tested by the adversary, but moved to do so by the Spirit of God. Now he's going to find out if he's really ready. Does he know what he thinks he knows? Not just in his head, but in the pit of his stomach, in the depths of his soul. Is he ready? Is he ready for the adversity that is surely going to follow him? There are times when we make big decisions. We feel God is calling us in a direction, and so we go for it, or we don't. Sometimes when we go for it, it's exactly what we thought it would be. And we're like, yeah, it's going to go like this and that, and it does. And this is the best ever. But sometimes there's a lot of adversity. On top of the adversity is our shock, which makes it even harder. Wait. I thought I was following the Spirit of God. When you follow the Spirit of God, everything goes smooth, right? Yeah, sure it does. Yeah, no, it doesn't. So we get shocked, and that makes it even harder, because now we're getting off of our footing. Did I do something wrong? Was I making this up? Should I have prayed more? Given more money? More time? Our thoughts and our feelings whirl and they swirl, and We lose our footing and we fall off of our mountain of hope and inspiration. That's a lovely mountain to be on, isn't it? The mountain of hope and inspiration, and we're like, yeah! Right? And everything's just, yeah! Wait, what? And those steps that we're, so on top of, blah, 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 blah. Oh. Right? It's ow. We forget that adversity is normal. Adversity stinks, but it's normal. If you didn't know that, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to burst your bubble. Dun, 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 dun. Adversity is normal. Jesus was accosted by his adversary. Their dialogue reminds me of a sword fight with words. And when I realized it reminded me of that, I went back and I watched the sword fight scene from The Princess Bride, which is my favorite, because they're not just playing, they're not just having a sword fight with swords, they're also talking to each other the whole time, which is fun. Oh, well, if you knew and I can't remember what they said, but it has to do with style and technique and nice footwork and, So I went there, and so that amused me, and then I came back to the sermon, and I realized sword fighting is dangerous, right? A lot of people in a lot of sword fighting scenes and movies and in real life die. Princess Bride, they don't do that because I'd sooner break a stained glass window than an artist like yourself, poof, and he, knocks him out. That I do remember. Sword fighting is beautiful, which was Wesley's point. Beautiful. The way you move, the way we get to do this. Wow, you know your stuff, but it's dangerous. It's also keen, the way they go back and forth. Both of them taking an offensive strategy in The Princess Bride, but also with Jesus and the adversary. They both played to their strengths. Now, I suppose it's easier to do that if you're Jesus. Still, think about this. And again, I don't mean to knock you off your mountain of hope and inspiration, but how can I say this without being a heretic? Jesus was human. If we believe Jesus was fully human, we also have to believe that Jesus struggled with fear and with doubt, just like we do, or else he wasn't fully human. If we think, well, Jesus knew how it was all going to end, and Jesus knew every moment, and as he walked, the future just wafted before him, so he was prepared for everything. He wasn't then fully human as he walked the earth. He had to have had struggles. He had to have had moments of, are you kidding me? He had to have. And so to say it was easier for Jesus, well, sure, but it wasn't easy to be Jesus. So please, let go of the notion that he just kind of hovered over all the problems. He had to go through them just like we do. Jesus' adversary was trying to get him to focus on himself. And that's what adversity does to us. It makes us focus all on ourselves. His fears and his doubts. But Jesus didn't bite. Instead, he kept his focus on God and on those he came to serve. He knew what he knew. He didn't have to prove himself. We have adversaries that test us. Well, if you're so smart, if you really have faith, and so on, like that. You've heard those voices. Come on, prove yourself. Prove yourself. You think you're so smart. You think you're so loving. You think you're so... That's what the adversary did to Jesus. Oh, you think you're the Son of God? Really? Okay, prove it to me. Do this. I don't have to prove nothing to you. I don't have to prove anything to you. I know what I know. Twice he taunted Jesus with it, if you are the Son of God, then. And he didn't go there. The other piece of this that may not be obvious is that the adversary was using threats and fear. Jesus stuck with love. Love of God and love for us. Two very different ways of going about things. Think about that for a moment. Even when the adversary said, look at everything, look at the world in its splendor. All of these I will give to you if you will fall down and worship me. What kind of a threat was that? That, I think, was a threat of, you know you're not enough. You know you can't do this the way you think you can do it. But I can promise you what you really, really want. I can make it happen. All you have to do is be a little bit scared and worship me. That's all you have to do. Be scared. And Jesus said, no, I'm not scared of you. I know what I know. And it's not about me anyway. It's not about me. Tying this into Martin Luther King Jr. Day. Dr. King did the same thing. It's not about me. It's not about me. He did say something about quality of life is better than longevity of life. It's a paraphrase, but that was the idea. He wanted his life to have meaning, no matter what happened. Some places of business will be closed on Monday. There will be events, and all that is good. And if you have the opportunity to attend anything, I say go for it. Or even just read a little bit about him. Dr. King was an amazing person, and he deserves to be honored. He is someone that I look up to very, very much. He's a person who knew what he knew. And he had a lot of adversity. He had to have had fears and doubts along the way. But he kept going. Because he couldn't shake off what he knew that he knew. So I will leave you with a quote of his, another one. And I believe it sums up this jousting match between Jesus and his adversary. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. said, I have decided to stick with love. Hate is too great a burden to bear.